Good evening, Necessary Truth. Hello, Anthony. I'm still working on the chart, as you can see. I'm going to do is I'm just going to color in a little bit of the nodal axis here. A little bit of just a little bit here, because at the moment it's quite harmonious with the sun. Okay, it's a nice sort of angle here. I'm going to add that in just a little bit here. It's harmonious. I'm just going to call it harmonious there. All right. Oh gosh, some people just showing up. Hello, good evening. Hello, people. Hello, 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 hello. Hello. Hello, Necessary Truth. Hello, Anthony. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Necessary. Hello, Ivona. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, that'll be interesting. Ikat. Hey, hello, Ikat. I remember you. Greetings, welcome. I'm glad you got something out of your reading, Anthony. Ooh, cheers. I got a little bit of iced tea. Bubba's relaxing right now. He'll probably get a little bit anxious later on. I just gave him some treats, so he hopefully will be comfortable for a while. Both of the boys can be quite demanding when they're, I don't know, I think some people say I spoil them or I pamper them and it's a little bit too much. I just don't know. I don't know. Elizabeth, good evening. Good to see you. All right, I'm just going to leave there. Here's the chart. I'm just going to come back to it in a little bit. I just want to say hello to people. Greetings. I've got a bit of sinus stuff going on this evening, so please bear with me. I might sound a little funny. I haven't taken the medication enough this evening. If I take it right now, it's powerful stuff. It goes up in here. If I take it right now, I'll just be like a dribbling, snotty mess for about 40 minutes, so I'm just not going to do it. You know what? I could take the little pink pills, the little Benadryls. I could do that. That might help. Actually, you know what? I think I will. I'm going to take one Benadryl. Please stay there a moment. I'll be right back. Boy, oh boy. All right, let's see what I got here. Yep. All right, let's see how this works. It'll help a little tiny bit. Anyway, so it's the 4th of February. We're kind of right in the middle of Aquarius sun season right now. The sun is at about 15 degrees. Let's go to the chart. I just said hello, 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 hello. Let's see. All right, so as you noticed, we've already had a whiz-bang start to the new era for Pluto and Aquarius for the next 20 years. We got a whiz-bang start, and everything that we predicted is coming into being with a bang, as they say. I said it already, as turmeric tea. Interesting. I've never had turmeric tea. It sounds herbal to me. So the sun is in Aquarius, Pluto's in Aquarius. The sun is at about 15 degrees here, so it's at maximum power at the moment for the Aquarius vibes. And oh my God, sorry, bear with me. I'm running on fumes, as they say. So the Aquarius vibes are very harmonious with the Libra Aries vibes. This is the North Node axis over here. We've been dealing with it for what, 7, 8, 9 months or something, and we still have about another 9 months to go at least, I would think. I haven't timed it exactly. But anyway, the whole thing about the Aries North Node is that it's a journey, it's a direction, it's not a final destiny. And when we're talking about it for the whole planet, especially since it's more or less conjunct Chiron, Chiron is where the very, very deep non-healing wounds are buried. So for society at large right now, for humankind at large, it's about selfhood. It's about being oneself, feeling that you have the right to be you, you have the right to stand up for yourself and put yourself first, so to speak, without being offensive. In other words, just honoring yourself, being your sovereign self, giving yourself permission to be you rather than sublimating yourself to another person, another energy, another power, a superpower, a political elite, or whatever it might be. And so what's happening is, you might have noticed, there's about 8 billion people on Earth right now, and at least 2 billion are suffering very badly. At least 2 billion, okay? That's a lot of people who live in poverty, and even worse, depravity. And not their fault. It's just the nature of things. And so humankind is very sensitive to the feeling like, wow, I have been undermined. I have allowed myself to be undermined for so long. I have been my own worst enemy. And even when I try to, let's say, stand up for myself, I feel like I'm getting beaten down anyway, because Chiron is conjoining the North Node here. So there's a lot of people who are realizing that they have given their life soul energy away to something else. I would say a relationship, but it doesn't necessarily mean a person here. I'm thinking of a relationship with something outside of them, a partnership where a lot of humans are naturally social creatures, and they account for other people in their life and their world and in their environment. And I personally believe that a huge percentage and bulk of humanity has been conditioned to believe and trust in something other than themselves. And lo and behold, to their detriment. Ouch! Ouch! The most obvious examples are right now, there's probably about 400 to 600 million people in China who are starting to openly protest and decry their leaders, because they're realizing they've been totally screwed for decades, for generations, and they're getting sick of it. And desperate people do desperate things. There's about 1 billion people in China that are more or less desperate because their whole country, their whole economy is imploding, and they are starting to blame their glorious leader. And the people who are really suffering, it's so desperate that that's at the point it doesn't matter whether you complain and stand up and get beaten and arrested because your life is so miserable already. So that's starting to happen in China. It's different in India because it's much more of an open society. They're very democratic, and so they openly vent. They don't have the intense oppression of the CCP in China. America is a very open society, but it's been heavily infected by, you could call it a ruling elite, who have conditioned and molded and propagandized, if there's such a word, the public into submission to the will of the ruling elite as opposed to the will of the people, we the people. So a lot of Americans are starting to get very, very pissed off. And it's happening all across the world. Let me bring out the map. There's revolution everywhere. Of course, what would you expect? Pluto in Aquarius, Sun in Aquarius, kicking off the Pluto in Aquarius season with a bang, as I said earlier. So revolutionary activity over here, all 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 over here. People are rising up and saying enough is enough is enough. In more affluent westernized economies, it's happening in Germany, France, Netherlands, Ireland, where farmers are protesting against the politicians because of the heavily socialized and what words can I use that won't get my channel bombarded again? Anyway, they're protesting against the ruling elites. Same thing is happening in America because of the invasion on the southern border. A lot of Americans are fed up with it and protesting. A lot of people in Central and South America are fed up because their countries are imploding, especially Venezuela, Colombia, parts of Ecuador and Guyana. It's been very, very difficult. Also, a lot of Central America, they're desperate. Same thing with Africa. A lot of the African countries are trying to kick out the imperialists from Europe from, 100, 150 years ago. And of course, there's good old Russia putting pressure on Western Europe and Eastern Europe. It's been that way for a very long time, and it's just flaring up again. Of course, revolutionary energy over here in the Middle East. It's all about pissed off people rising up against their perceived enemies because they're sick of it. In other words, they want their freedom. One example, for example, it may not make sense to you right now, but over here in the Middle East, it's been heavily occupied by the United States and military for decades, and the Middle East countries are sick of it. And they're basically trying to send a message to America, please go away, please leave us alone. America insists on being here because of all the oil and gas, of course. So, and because all the oil and gas and wealth that has been accumulated here in the Middle East has happened because of Britain and America being allowed to develop all of that stuff. So it's a bit of a controversial situation. The Americans really don't want to leave because if they leave, then the Middle East will just turn into a rampant, chaotic place that will essentially block and destabilize the oil markets for the whole world. Anyway, so on and so on. Revolution, baby. Revolution. Aquarius is the sign of revolution, upheaval, awakenings. Ultimately for the good. Yep. Oh. Yeah. I had my first encounter with let's call it an invading migrant today. Turned out to be a very decent fellow, and we had a very, very sort of simplified conversation because he didn't speak English very well. He was from Cuba, and he was working as the table cleaner over at McDonald's where I had my coffee early this morning. And he always comes up to me and greets me and says, hello, good morning, hello. And so I say, hello, good morning. Anyway, so we had a sort of a conversation. It turns out that he decided he can't take it anymore in Cuba. It's extremely poor. It's very difficult to get basic food for the basic homes and families for people. Very difficult to get gasoline. Very difficult to get even transportation. Most people do not have cars. Most people don't even have bicycles. Most people walk for whatever they're doing, wherever they're going. If you have a bicycle, you're lucky. If you have a car, you must be a member of the elite. Anyway, he was basically saying he has family back there, but he's the one who's most fit and able. He he's probably like 35 years old or something. He looked like a very healthy fellow, very, very sweet person. And so I asked him, well, so what was it like? You're in America now. And he says, well, it's still difficult over here because for me to have shelter and a place to live, it's very expensive. Because he's making his money from McDonald's as a table cleaner, doesn't have a lot of money. And so his dream, which was to get a job and then send money back to his family in Cuba, it's not working. But anyway, he wanted freedom. He's got freedom. He's got liberties in here that he does not have back in Cuba, because Cuba is a heavily communist country. Anyway, so his journey, he went from, actually I'll show you on the map. Here we go. If I can do it, if it's big enough. He went from, Cuba. He somehow or other he saved up enough money to fly to Nicaragua and then through to Honduras. And from there he started walking. From Nicaragua, Honduras, is it El Salvador? I can't read it. And then Guatemala and Mexico. And he finally made it up here and found his way to Las Vegas. And it took him 3 months. And a lot of walking. A lot of walking. I found that very interesting. Oh, the other thing that I found very interesting is that probably like yourselves, I'm seeing a lot of reports of some very, very bad stuff happening now in some of the big sanctuary cities where all the invaders are going. It's very sad. It's very tragic, but it's all planned out. It's all part of the, let's say, what do you call it? Controlled demolition. Hey, Tina? Yeah, it's the controlled demolition of the United States. It's all planned by the global ruling elites. They have to destroy America. They have to destroy the country of America. They have to destroy the Constitution, especially white American patriots. They are enemy number one. And it's proving to be very difficult for the global elites to take down their enemies. Hello, N. Edwards. Good evening. But they're going to keep going. What's happening is that the global elites have realized that they've been outed. They've realized that there are enough people in the world who've reached a tipping point of realization and awakening, thank you, Aquarius, that there's something very, very wrong with what's going on in the world. And the awakening people, the people who are awake, are realizing that they've been scammed for decades. And they're saying enough is enough. We don't want these global elites running our lives anymore. Go away. Go away. Go away. Take away your fake meat. Take away your climate cult. Take away your electric cars. Take away your impositions for societal restructuring, ESG and DEI. Take away your evil CBDC financial imprisonment system. All of that stuff. Stop trying to turn everything into one singular globalized paradise that works for you at the expense of us. We're sick of it. A lot of people are not awake. They don't know, they don't care, a lot of them don't even want to know. They don't want to care. They're just like, oh, I don't know, tell me what to do. I don't want to think, like, who's the boss here? Just tell me what to do. Anyway, so it's happening. Remember, this is a 20-year journey. We've just started, 2 weeks ago. So there's a long way to go. And the prevailing theme, when you distill everything, it distills down to revolution. By we the people, against a tyrannical global elite They, the tyrannical global elite, do not like people like myself who enjoy and like and cherish freedom. And ultimately, it comes down to two words: freedom versus tyranny. That's it. That's all you have to remember. Freedom versus tyranny. The tyrants come in many, many forms, different names, different political groups, different countries. And people who want freedom come in many different forms and colors and countries and creeds and so on. But the ultimate theme is tyranny versus freedom. It looks different wherever you are, whichever country that you're in. Whether you're in westernized Italy, Germany, France, England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America, the western sort of stuff. Whether you're in Eastern Europe, whether you're in Africa, whether you're in India, when you're East Asia, West Asia, Central and South America, whatever it is, each has their own version of the same dynamic. These two polar opposite extremes. Tyranny versus freedom. That's it. So there you go. Let me go back over here a second. The way I'm looking at the chart right now, like I talked about a few weeks ago, there's a lot of compression energy up here in the Capricorn 10th house. It's been building up for a couple of months. All the planets cruising up here and piling up into Capricorn. Eventually this stellium type energy, which was bigger, it's now diminishing because the sun has already moved into Aquarius. That will diminish, and the faster moving planets, in other words, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, will start to move into Aquarius and so on. But right now we still have this heavy presence in Capricorn. And I would say it's about the reality checks of where we are right now. The big theme, where it was all brought to the surface, has already happened. In other words, people who feel that their freedom is being threatened have made their voices very clear, and they've identified the enemy. The enemies have been identified. For example, in the United States, there are certain people in the ruling administration and their families and so on. Grandpa Joe and his gang, they've all been identified, and their offenses have been identified, and they are being called out, and they're being called out in Washington, in Congress, and they're being held accountable. It's going to be very, very difficult to hold the ruling elites accountable for their, I would say, barbaric and very, well, it's not, it is barbaric, but it's done in a very subtle, and now it's not so subtle way, to basically do the controlled demolition of the United States of America and the destruction of the Constitution. It's now, if you're interested in these kind of things, it's very obvious right now. You've got to reveal it to heal it, and a lot of that has been happening recently with all the pressure on Neptune, especially during the Sagittarius season a few months ago. That is over. It's already been identified, and now we're trying to hold accountability. So there's a lot of Capricorn reality check energy here, trying to establish accountability for the crimes and offenses and high crimes and misdemeanors and treason and treachery against the beautiful thing that we have. I think it's beautiful, the United States of America. Interestingly enough, because of the American astrology and the natural American birth identity, revolution and upheaval and a perpetual desire for freedom is built into America. America has an Aquarius moon and an Aquarius south node, and it has a very strong Aquarian theme. It likes to be humanitarian. It sees itself as a humanitarian force for the world. But you take it too far, and it becomes a kind of perverse and highly abused form of, let's say, humanitarian aid. The really obvious ones are when you take these so-called places like the United Nations and the Red Cross and all these UNRWAs, societies that are funded with billions of dollars of Western taxpayer money, and it's going into, let's say, very treacherous circumstances, and it's being packaged as aid, but it is actually being used or abused as funding for militants and for war. Okay, and that's a lot of the times how they do this stuff anyway, how these global elites operate. They present these glossy, well-meaning, gestured ambitions, strategies, plans, goals, and they dress them up with fancy names, and they fill them up with buckets of taxpayer money, and it turns out to be highly corrupt, dirty money, dedicated to really dirty purposes. And the American people get screwed accordingly, while the global elites line their pockets and continue to foment war. Because war is big, big money, big, big business. They've been wanting this for a long time, and now they've got it. They're trying to amplify the war without making it look like they're trying to amplify the war. That's kind of the theme here. So anyway, please do not relax regarding the global financial system. It doesn't look like it's under pressure right now because there's nothing hovering around in the Scorpio arena, and it hasn't been that way for months. But if you look at little Sun in Aquarius over here, hard squaring Uranus in Taurus, you'll understand that the global financial system is still under extreme stress. I've been watching lots of little clips and headlines and mini videos about the global financial system, and it's a little bit disturbing. It's a little bit scary. And because humanity, the world, global finances have never been in a position like this before, nobody really knows what's going to happen. But we know we're at a radical tipping point. Let's put it that way. Tipping point. Been using that word a lot recently. Tipping point. You get the lead up to the tipping point. That was, 18 years, 18 years Pluto in Capricorn, as we built up to this very, very oppressive, let's say, agenda or energy field that we have going on right now. We reached the tippy end of it, Pluto in Capricorn, 29 degrees, and that took us over to here in January 2020. And then the next 3 or 4 years, we're at the sort of the midpoint where it's wobbling. But now we've actually tipped 1 degree, well, half a degree into Aquarius. And it's really not going back. It's going to go like that. But essentially over the last year or so and over the next few months, the tipping point has been going like this. And it's during that point where a lot of the world has been starting to wake up to what this actually means. Because to go from here, which would representing the Pluto in Capricorn 29 degree mark, energy of desperation for the world global elites, to wake up and tip it over to here, where the energy is in favor of we the people. We the people can take it back against the global elites. And so we've got 18 years, well actually we've got 250 years. If you look at the whole Pluto cycle, we've got 250 years of that cycle building up to this particular tipping point. Now there is a tipping point every time Pluto goes into the next sign. it marks generational energy over the decades. And if you look back through American history, you can see it every time Pluto goes through the next sign, like whether it's Virgo or Scorpio or Libra or Gemini or Cancer. There are big shifts in society. But the biggest of all is the one we're having right now. Pluto in Capricorn, 27 degrees. That was 4th of July, 1776 revisited. We've moved on. 3 years is still tipping point energy, remember. Now we're at the 29 degree, the 0 mark for Aquarius. 29 degree Capricorn 0 mark for Aquarius, and we're flipping in to Aquarius for good. Still teetering. We're still teetering like that, but there's no going back. The surge and the demand for freedom is not going to go away. It's going to amplify every year, for the next 20 years, especially when there is an Aquarius theme that is highlighted in the astrology. Every time a planet goes through the Aquarius vibe, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, there will be some kind of little trigger thing that amplifies the theme of Aquarius, the demand for freedom, the demand for fairness, and what is good for the world community as opposed to what is good for a handful of extremely perverse, psychopathic, basically evil global elites at the very top. Their world is crumbling. Their world is over. They know it. They're desperate, and desperate people do desperate things. The most desperate thing is war. That's where we are now. So the energy of the tipping point in the previous era of Capricorn is not over. We're going to feel it for years as the global elites are put under more and more and more pressure to basically go somewhere else. We're all going to feel it one way, somehow or another. It depends on your level of awakening, level of awareness, whether you even care or not. A lot of people don't care. They don't want to know. Okay? Hey, Jessica. I remember. I did a reading for you. Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting. To me, this is one of the most epic, important, captivating, eye-opening experiences that I've ever known with astrology. And I've been doing astrology for a long time. Very, very basic astrology. I only ever mess with the planets, the houses, the signs. That's really what it's about in basic Western astrology. There's the signs, the planets, and the houses. Now, there's a lot more that goes on. I've had some really good teachers, and I realized I can't handle it all. I don't have all the fancy computer softwares or anything like that. But some of the astrologers are very academic, they go deep into their books and their libraries, and they're looking up their constellations and all their mythology and the stars and the asteroids and the frictional points and all of those things. I mean, there's so much other stuff out there, and I realized I can't handle it. I'm just going to stick to the stuff that is really, really obvious. The obvious things are the 10 celestial bodies. There you go. Yeah. You sure did. Thank you, Jessica. So. Things are getting pretty weird. I don't know how to say it anymore. I'm so over saying, oh, it's weird what's happening and what's happening with the mainstream elite and all that, because it's becoming so obvious. And it's part of me feels like, I told you. And I'm looking at, I even, when I'm hanging out with myself or reading all my stuff or doing all my research, I keep going, pretend I'm on my, on a device, and I'm going, yeah, research that, or research that one, research that one. Yep. Yeah, I told you. Yep. Yep, told you. Oh, yeah, I told you. Oh, that's... Oh, I didn't see that one coming. Oh, yep. Told you. Wait a minute. Got to do more. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, yeah. And for some reason, the way I'm built, I like to see things. I like to look through things through a very big, wide lens. And I get a nice big feel for things. I like to feel like I'm an eagle and I'm way up there scanning. I'm above the clouds. I'm above all the turbulence and the chaos and the mayhem. But every now and again, I need to dive in for a very close examination of a situation. So I do that now and again. But in general, I just try to get the overview and then just keep scanning and hovering accordingly. Hello, Precious. Wow, it's good to see you. Hey, Precious, and actually everyone else here, I might want to tell you, I kind of forgot about it for the last couple of weeks, but some of you might remember Martina. Does anybody remember Martina? On screen, she was called Lily Lynn. Anyway, I'm mentioning Lily Lynn because Precious Moments just arrived. Some of you know the story of Precious Moments over the last few years, where she was basically shoved out of her home. She was shoved out of her job because she wouldn't take a certain stabbing device into her body. And she was a very capable, qualified nurse. And anyway, it turned into a saga where she was effectively homeless, had to survive with a shelter, herself and 3 kids, and things are starting to turn around for Precious Moments. We're hoping that things work out with her and her sweetheart. But the thing is, something very similar is happening now to Martina, Lily Lynn, and she's over in Austria. So it's very rare that we ever see her on the channel anymore because, like right now in Austria, it is like, 2 or 3 or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning. So, she's not going to be hanging out on the live streams. But anyway, we keep in touch, she has made a deck of cards, inspirational cards. She did the artwork and all the words and everything. She sent me the basic file. She can't afford to print them out anymore. But here's the thing. She's basically now falling apart because she lives in Austria, and Austria has become very, very difficult for a lot of people. It's very cold. It's winter right now. And a lot of people in Austria are suffering with massive inflation for food and gasoline, heating, and oil, and basically her life fell apart, and now she's basically homeless. And she has 1 son. She's a wonderful woman, very smart, very intelligent. She had a situation where she was working from home, but a lot of employment problems and unemployment in Austria now too. So she is... I tried to help her out a little bit. I don't know. I don't know how much more I can help. I made a little donation. I helped her to create a GoFundMe site. And if anyone's interested in helping out, the site still exists, and I can do if anyone wants to help out, let me know. I don't know how to do it live here right now. If I was really smart, I'd have a fancy show, and I'd have a whole, story. We'd have Martina on camera, and we'd do everything, and people would put money in the pot and donate to Martina to help her get some food and, pay for the cell phone bill for over the next few months while she tries to find some shelter. I don't quite know how to do it. If anyone's interested in helping out, please contact me. I'll show you how. You can contact me here. This is my email. a little book about at yahoo.com. A little book about at yahoo.com, and I'll show you how you can help out Martina if you're interested. There's a website, and it's sort of like what I used to do years ago here, where we had the Patreon and the monthly payments and all that. Basically, she has a GoFundMe site, and you can press a donate button and swipe a card and send her some money. That's about it. She's been pushing the site on some of her own social media. She has a few friends who've helped out, but obviously in her situation you need a lot more than that. Any help would be appreciated. So yeah, it's rough. It's rough. I certainly wouldn't want to be homeless in these conditions. And it's winter now for a lot of people. We had a massive cold spell. It's softening up right now, and we just had a massive rainstorm, and we're getting another 3 days of rain, but it's not a big deal compared to other parts of America. Anyway, when I look at let me go back to the charts a minute. I don't know about you, but what happens for me personally, when the charts are very dominated by green, like they are right now, things feel softer and smoother and a little bit more fluid and gentle. And like life isn't that bad. Sometimes when I see a lot of red on the charts, I feel it in my body, like a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. No matter what it is, I just feel it. My body's kind of like an antenna. But right now, the main thing we just have here is the sun hard on Uranus, and that's emphasizing trouble in the global financial system. So we talked about that, but with all this harmonious energy here, even despite some of the horrible things going on in the world, we're living with an astrological moment of peace, relative peace. I feel it in here. A lot of the big drama issues have kind of gone, because the big drama issues have been talked over for at least 10 days, 2 weeks now. So it's like, okay, we heard that story, we heard that story, we heard that story, yeah. Okay, I'm over it. I'm just going to chill until the next disaster happens. So what's that going to be? Well, I'm just giving you a heads up. Once all the fast planets, the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, in the next few weeks, as they shuffle into Aquarius, things are going to get a lot more stressful with the global financial system, okay? Several banks in New York just closed today. They're going bankrupt. The Chinese economy is completely imploding, utterly imploding right now. It's being essentially shut down. So, yeah, man, I wouldn't want to be there right now. Anyway, I don't have any readings booked, so I don't know if I'll stay here much longer. If there's anybody who wants a reading, let me know. I will put up I'll do my routine here. Hold on. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you're interested in a little personal mini reading, you can go to TarotLumination.com, hit the donate page, hit the donate button, swipe a card, put some cash in, and you're good to go. It'll show up here pretty quickly, and that's how it works. You've all been very kind and generous over the years, so I'm very grateful. If nobody wants a reading and you just want to hang out, we can do that too. All right, over here. Over here. Okay, there we are. So, yeah. I also just had where am I? Oh, yeah. I just been hanging out, chatting with LINA from Argentina. And I was curious because she's right there, close to Buenos Aires. And that's the capital, and that's where they're having all their revolution right now. Right over there. Anyway, I was asking Lino, so what's happening in Argentina with the revolution, with the new president? They call him anarcho-capitalist. Not anarcho like drugs, but anarcho, A-N-A-R-C-O. In other words, anarchy, anarchic. anarchic capitalism, like libertarian capitalism, like free market economy, libertarian economy, where it's pure free market economics. You don't have these heavy government socialized programs being forced on society on top. Instead, you let people be themselves, and you let the free market be the free market. And if someone does something good and they get paid and rewarded, then that's great. If somebody does something bad, then they get punished and go to jail. It's really simple. Really, really, really simple. It's so simple that people don't like it. They want to have it much more complicated. A lot of countries have figured out how to brainwash and control and sabotage their population and turn their country into a bunch of servants, slaves, sheep, cattle, whatever you want to call it, in order to feed the government monster. And that's what happened in Argentina for, 20, 30, 40 years under the Perón leadership. It basically crippled the country. Argentina is very crippled financially now because of communist policies. And it's not coming to an end. Argentina is at its own tipping point right now because they've had decades of communism. And a lot of people are born into it and they don't know anything else. And so when you put a bomb in there and you try to destroy the communism, a lot of people rebel because they feel that their lives are being destroyed. The most comfortable, happiest people in Argentina work for the government or work with the government because they're on government payrolls, and the government takes all its money and taxes from the people. The people who are hurting are the people. We, the people in Argentina. And so with the revolution happening there in Argentina, the guy, his name is Javier Milei. He's a revolutionary, radical, free market, Austrian school of economics, anarcho-capitalist. And he was voted in because the majority of the population said enough is enough. We can't take this communist regime anymore. But do you see what I'm talking about, the tipping point? A lot of people were born into communism. They don't know anything else. Their lives are being undermined. Even though the intention is good, even though the idea of the revolution from Javier Milei is to make Argentina wealthy and healthy again in a natural, open, free market, free expression, where you can be you, that's a problem for some people. Same thing is happening in Germany. A huge majority of Germans voted in a very conservative, patriotic, common sense, so-called right-wing type of new party. And so it's now in control. And that party is basically saying this to the government globalist elites. But you don't see that on the news, because the news is all basically hyper globalist. And what you see on the news is about, there's 100,000 people protesting in Berlin against the new right-wing government. But what they don't tell you is that there's millions and millions of people in Germany who voted for the right-wing government. Do you see where it gets confusing? Tipping point stuff? Big Toe Roja. Hello, my name is Aaron from Kansas City, Missouri. I have a tarot reading from... Yeah. Well, we do it by donation here. You're a first timer. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But let me explain it. Okay, everybody. Here's an upper. Let's see what happens. If you've been here to the show before, Aaron, it's pretty simple. I just used my situational spread. It's basically like a diagnostic tool. Instead of doing like psychic mediumship, it kind of works better for me when I use tarot cards, because it's like a prop. It's like I actually get something to play with in my hands, and it's a visual prop. You can see it and you can hear the story unfolding. But it's essentially, if you believe in these things, it's like a tool or an instrument that opens up the psychic realm so that we can receive messages from heaven, from our guardian angels, our invisible friends, and bring them into three-dimensional understanding, like right now, here tonight on a reading if you want one. So here's what we do. What most people do is this. They go to TarotLumination.com on some sort of device. They go to the donate page. They click the donate button. They find the payment processor. They swipe a card. Most people put in $10, $20, something like that. And then you get a mini reading. The payment usually shows up here pretty quickly. And then that's how it works. Anyway, let's get back to the show a little bit. I'll just call you Aaron, if that's okay. Kansas City, Missouri. Hold on. Isn't Kansas City, Missouri actually on the border, on a river? And it's Kansas on one side, it's Missouri on the other? Let me just check. I want to check that. Give me a second. I forgot. Okay. Yeah, there it is. You see, there's Missouri, and there's Kansas City. It's right on the border with Kansas. Who would have guessed? Will it show up on the map? Maybe. It's right there. I guess there's two Kansas cities. Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri. I didn't know that. Huh. That's wacky. And the Mississippi goes right down the middle. Or is it the Missouri River? It's the Missouri River, yeah. Where's the Mississippi? Over here. There's the Mississippi. Anyway, it shows how much I know. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's have a look. All right, let's have a look here. Okie dokie. So I'm just going to hang out with you guys for a little bit. If anybody wants to share some of their horror stories, anything that they've noticed about the tipping point or the revolution or the upheaval, feel free to chime in. I'm going to hang here for a little bit. You already, Jessica. Oh, I didn't know. Sorry, I didn't know, Jessica. I have to check. I should check. That's what it is. Let me just get myself organized here, and I will get you your magic Post-it note any moment now. Okay. All right. Oh, wait a minute. We do have readings. We do have bookings. Oh, I didn't see that. Sorry, you didn't tell me. You just... All right, okay, so... N. Edwards. Okay, Nicole and Jessica. Okay, here we go. So I'm just clicking around behind the scenes here. Just bear with me, okay? Sorry, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm just figuring that out right now. I'm just realizing it. So let me get organized. Hey, Aaron, if you want to, you can hang out with us for a while. I've got 2 readings booked already. I didn't know that. So let me get set up and organized here. Then you can see what happens and figure out if you want to get a reading. Okay. And I've got one also for Nicole. Actually, Nicole put hers in first now, I realized. So let's put that over here. Now, everyone's different, and the way we do these things. But in general, you probably figured out I love to do blind readings. I love to do blind readings. I'm going to put the stars aside for a moment. This is the background energy. It affects everybody, by the way. I just want to mention that, okay? Hello, Manhur. So, again, regarding personal readings, I'm doing a bit of a promo now if you're interested. I'm doing personal readings as well. Of course, they're a lot more expensive. We do them in private. Do the same thing. You go to TarotLumination.com and you book a reading. You can figure it out. This astrology right now is for the whole world. It affects everybody. And these transits could affect you anywhere in your chart. Since there's so much harmonious sextiles and trines, I'm not going to focus too much on the chart today. Even the nodal axis is under significant harmony, so that's kind of comfortable. The real stressor is mostly to do with upheavals in the global financial market and upheavals in society, revolution, the desire for freedom. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. But if you want to think of this as a hot spot, or think of this as a hot spot, wherever these hot spots lie in your personal chart, could be anywhere, that's where you're going to feel the pressure. Okay, there you go. Oh, Necessary gave me a tip. Okay, so tip. All right, so let's see. I got a couple people, Manhur and Aaron. Let me just do this once more. I don't know if I can handle more readings anyway, so let's see. Okay, so if you want to book a reading, it's really simple. You go to TarotLumination.com. However you want to do that, you can go on another device, your phone, a tablet, on a new tab on your computer, whatever it is. Go to the donate page, go to the donate button, payment processor pops up, and you just swipe it. It's just like doing online shopping. Okay? Hello, Jay. How are you doing? Hope you're not too stressed out, man. There's Mercury, Mars, and Venus all piled up in Capricorn right now. And there's still a bit of leftovers from Pluto. So I hope you're strong, man. I hope you're strong. All right, so I hope that helps with the readings. I'm going to get myself... Oh, you know what? I just want to just indulge me for another minute or so. Sometimes I like to watch YouTube or Netflix when I'm sitting down and relaxing, and it keeps putting on this promo headline trailer for a movie called Hereafter. I saw the movie long ago, and I saw it recently, and I got very, very nostalgic because it's sort of a fictional story, but they use a lot of factual stuff. And okay. Just hang out, Jeffrey. If you got nothing better to do, just hang out, and you can stir it up if you want. And Hereafter is a movie about the hereafter, because the star of the movie is Matt Damon, and he's a professional psychic medium, and he got sick of it because it was just screwing up his life. He was always having psychic encounters with people. He couldn't have a normal relationship. So he thought, screw it, I'm just going to give up. Anyway, it's a long, sort of twisty, elaborate movie with different storylines all weaving together. But in the background, there's Matt Damon, and he's just a guy like me, and he's like, okay, I'm a psychic medium. Of course, Necessary Truth will understand this as well, because some of you know Necessary Truth is a psychic medium, a real one. So the guy, Matt Damon, is like this. Oh, it sucks. I'm a psychic medium. My brother runs my business for me. I was making a lot of money, writing books, doing television. I hate it. I'm sick of it. I don't have a private life. I can't function with people normally. I can't have a healthy boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Can't do anything. The psychic stuff just overwhelms. And so he said, enough is enough. But it wouldn't stop. People started to try to find him. I need a reading. Give me a reading. And he goes like, okay, I'll give you a reading. And eventually, anyway, it's a convoluted story, but in the end, he meets another woman who had a similar storyline to himself. And because it's kind of cute and romantic. So a psychic medium meets another psychic medium, and they kind of gelled, and they realize, wow, you're kind of like me, I'm kind of like you. Maybe we can hang out, because I can't hang out with anybody else. So it's like a sort of sweet romantic ending. And sometimes I can relate very strongly to Matt Damon in the movie, because he's literally just a guy with a particular skill. And what do you do with that? I've kind of been doing this for years, and I've been doing a lot of it, I would hate to say it, reluctantly. But now I do it every weekend, and that's something. I used to do it a lot more. I even worked as a professional psychic medium, technical assistant on television shows. But that was like many years ago, and I got sick of it because some of the stuff was so sick and perverted, and I was exposed to too much psychic I don't know what to call it, evil. I didn't want that contaminating my life anymore. Anyway, let's go. I just wanted to share that. So right now we got two. We're going to read for Nicole, and then we're going to read for Jessica. All right, Nicole, you are up. I'm just going to switch to water. My sinuses are holding up fairly well. All right. I had a few private readings during the week. Some of them were very serious, big readings, and I love doing them. But on one of them, I was doing so much shuffling, so many different multiple spreads and everything, that my right hand started to ache. And I've got this, like, I don't know, maybe it's shuffler's finger or something. I don't know. So we'll do what we can. All right, Nicole, you are up. Brace yourself. Please take a few deep breaths. Please invoke your invisible friends. Surround yourself with fuzzy, warm feelings. Make sure you're feeling very, very comfortable and safe and at ease, and allow yourself to be open to anything. I'm doing the same thing over here, of course, and the whole idea is that we open the portals to, higher frequencies. I think of them as my invisible friends, or you can say your guardian angels, your archangels. Everyone has different versions, interpretations. Heaven, your loved ones from the great beyond, whatever it might be. Now, when we do the blind readings, it's open to anything, and typically what that does, it allows the energies from outside of Nicole, outside of myself, to come forward in a way that may not be immediately of concern. In other words, Nicole, you might have certain issues in the front of your mind right now, but there might be an underlying issue that is more important, that is actually the foundation of the issues that occupy your mind at the moment. I hope that makes sense. So anyway, the whole idea is that we're using the TarotLumination situational spread. It's literally a miniature diagnostic tool, just like when you go to a car shop place and you ask for a diagnosis and they plug in the computer and they say, oh, yeah, of course, it's your catalytic converter. Duh. Or it might be, oh my gosh, your fuel pump is blocked. Oh. Or maybe it's your mass air sensor. Oh no. Who's that, Manur? Oh yeah, I did say Manur already earlier. Okay. Hello, Anthony. Anyway, here we go. Let's have a look. So what kind of messages do we have here tonight for Nicole regarding her life, her world, her relationships, her home, her family, her experience in life, whatever may be grieving, whatever may be puzzling. We're open to all of it. We're open to receiving. Let's bless this deck, bless every single card, bless the channel, bless the wires, the cables, the microphone, the software, the computers itself, the monitors, the electricity, all the wires, the lighting, everything. Thank you very much. Here we go. Hi, Anthony. All right. Don't worry, Nicole. Things are the way they are. Everything is exactly as it should be. Literally, everything is exactly as it should be. Why is that so? It's because it can't be any other way. That's it. It's physics. It's pure, pure physics. There are horrific, horrible things in the world. Simultaneously, there are beautiful things in the world. They're all happening at once. Energy flows where attention goes. If you focus all your time and energy on the scary negative stuff, it becomes almost like part of your nature, where you can't escape it. It's very, very important to understand that you are a unique being, and you don't have to live at the mercy of the energies surrounding you. You can understand and maintain that you are your own unique essence. And there might be horror shows happening over here. There might be something beautiful happening over here. Something confusing here. Something serene. Something healing. Whatever it might be. It's all happening simultaneously. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit more and then we're going to dive in. Okay, Nicole? Oh, thank you for that. I see it. Thank you. So what kind of messages do we have for Nicole this evening? Here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. And here's how we're going to handle things. This is very much about in the moment. Let's have a look at external influences. Of course, I usually default to the planets, but let's see. We've got the 8 of Wands. This is actually kind of exciting to me. To me, it makes me feel as though there is this, like it's like this energy is available to you, and you might be resonating with this energy. You might be feeling it as either a form of stimulation, or perhaps even overstimulation, or a sense of desire, a sense of overwhelming ambition. I'm hoping this is kind of a positive influence. I see the 8 as positive here, in that there are, let's say, the way I'm feeling it here, Nicole, is that there are multiple, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like these, it's going to sound really weird, but like tingly type of energies that are happening in your life right now when you think of certain subjects, like a certain person or a certain opportunity or a certain outcome or a certain event or something coming up soon or whatever it is, where there's a chance that you could get fired up and throw yourself into it. It might be, it doesn't have to be a relationship or anything. It could be like a chance to, let's say, tap into your passions, tap into your reservoir of raw, primal, I think of it as like Aries energy. I'm not saying that you're an Aries person, sun, moon, rising, or anything like that, but it's very, very strong, like energy. This is what I'm gonna say. Excuse me. When I see the 8 of Wands there for you, it makes me feel that there's a lot of energy out there that is available to you. It's like different forms of rocket fuel, turbocharged, supercharging, like surf energy, where the energy is really, really good and favorable and suitable for you. It might be something to do with all these beautiful green harmonious trines and sextiles in the astrology. I'm not quite sure. But for you personally, it's like... I'm going to try and make it simpler. I don't know if you drink coffee or Coca-Cola, where you get that sort of sugar caffeine rush. I'm not talking about extreme drinks like Monster and Red Bull. I'm just talking about a little cup of coffee or a Coca-Cola now and again, where you kind of get that a little bit of feel good, like, I have a little bit more boost in life. That's about the way I can describe it right now, okay? It's like it's there for you, and it's good for you, and it's positive, and it's available to you. It's like healthy blood, healthy oxygen, healthy food, healthy body, mind, heart, and soul flowing through you right now, available to you, whether you like it or know it or not. In other words, you might not even know that you're feeling good if you are overwhelmed by bad things. But this is really, I look at this as really juicy, powerful energy that's available to you. Okay, let's have a look at the situation. Wow, you got the Ten of Cups here. So, interesting, I had this the other day with somebody in this position. So, with the Ten of Cups here, this is kind of it's like a culmination. Happiness is different for everybody. How do you define happiness in your world? Maybe there's something exciting that's happening to you in your life, in your world right now, where you're starting to sense a possibility or potential or something even more than that, where certain like primal core desires and ingredients that equate or translate into personal happiness is available and possibly even happening for you right now. If it's not right now, it looks like it's a very big part of your agenda, where it's like you're prioritizing something like very classic, good old-fashioned happiness. How do you define happiness? How do a lot of people define happiness? For a lot of people, it's having the... It's not the same for everybody, but particularly with the Ten of Cups here, it would be one of the most classic symbols of happiness, which is love and family and home. That good stuff, where it not only feels good, but it is good. There are all the harmonious elements you could ever imagine for home and family are combined in perfect balance. And if that's not what you have right now, if that's not what you've got right now, it's something that is becoming a very big, important issue for you. What's the problem here? What are the challenges? Okay. Oh, maybe it's not a problem. We've got the Six of Cups here. I don't know if you're in some kind of passionate love relationship or something is simmering in the background where you're sensing the possibilities of a passionate love relationship, which could culminate in something that a lot of people would think is just like, I don't know if this is even possible, to have a happy home and a family. Now, with the Six of Cups, you might feel as though there's a little bit of fear and resistance, because maybe if it is some kind of relationship dynamic, you might be sensing that there's something karmic about it that is a little bit unnerving. Sometimes it happens where, okay, I'm just going to go straight forward here. Sometimes we meet people, we move through life, and you're going through different chapters of your life, and you're evolving, you're growing, and you discover parts of yourself that you learned the hard way, mixed with in other words, you've had a taste of what works, you've had a lot of taste of what doesn't work, and you're deciding, I want what works. what works for me. So what is it that works for you? If what works for you is something very, very, let's say, popular, having love, family, home, stability, security, maybe kids or something like that, that is often contingent on having a mate, a life mate, where it's passionate and you feel a strong enough bond to each other to commune and make new people. Little people. Have puppies. Make puppies together. It's different for everybody, but sometimes those situations occur and they feel very, very karmic. In other words, it's like deep inside you think, I've known you before. Maybe, and it's almost like this, you get this past life experience, like, I know I've been with this person, but I know you, and you get it. It usually happens almost immediately when people have a past life relationship connection, and sometimes that's unnerving. Even though it might be harmonious, sometimes it could be a little unnerving because it makes you feel like, ugh, what's going on here? There's something more going on besides like googly eyes and you're smoochy, I love you, do you love me? Is there any chance of happy home and family? A lot of this, what I'm sensing in the reading, is more to do with potential. But when I see the Six of Cups here, it makes me feel like there's someone in your life, in your world, that is significant. And they resonate with you in here. Part of that is good because in the first instance, it's like it makes things very, very smooth and easy for things to move along because there's already a lot of groundwork that's been established in previous lifetimes. I've done a lot of readings, okay? All right, Nicole, I've done a lot of readings, and it's not uncommon for people to come together who've had previous past life experience. And even though it might have all been nice, it can still be very unnerving simply because it can be an unsettling experience. Like, oh God, I feel like I've known this person before, but I've never met you before. Who are you? Is this real? Is this supposed to be happening? Anyway, let's keep going. So, if you're questioning yourself about what's working and what's not working in your life, if it's something to do with love and relationships and home and family, and if it's to do with the possible consummation of relationships, if there's like a love, a romantic, and it's passionate and it involves the consummation of bringing that together, but in the process, it's triggering things that are maybe, even though it might be very beautiful once you fully understand it, sometimes having those past life dynamics come forward into present day can be very unsettling, disturbing, disorienting, no matter how good everything else might be. So how do we move forward? Whoa, okay. So this is kind of like a card of destiny. We've got the Three of Wands here. And this is an indication that seeds have already been planted. Now, I'm not talking about the romantic seeds that I was talking about earlier. I'm talking about seeds were already planted in a past life. And what's happening now is in present day, there might be some present day new, recently established relationship that's starting to take prominence in your life. And you're trying to put it in perspective and understand, what is this? What does it mean? Is it just pure passion? Is it an opportunity for passion and love together? Mars and Venus conjoined? Ding dong. Look at that. Mars and Venus conjoined. Passion equals love. Love equals passion. It can happen, folks. It really, really can. Doesn't always happen. A lot of people think passion is love. and it turns out awful. A lot of people think love could be passion. Passionately. Anyway, they get confused and it turns out awful. So with the Three of Wands here, the way to go forward in a state of perhaps peace of mind, safety, and comfort would be to understand that outside of your three-dimensional physical world, there's a whole other existence of multi-dimensional worlds in previous lifetimes and future lifetimes. And what's happening today, right now in your life at this very moment, was seeded in previous lifetimes. And it's culminating and manifesting today in present day. And you're starting to see symbolic evidence of this energy manifesting today, right now, in real time. So what that indicates to me is that it's sometimes helpful to understand that love and relationships can grow and can be seeded and built over several lifetimes before they manifest into enough maturity to be able to be successful in a three-dimensional experience in a particular lifetime. For example, this lifetime. In other words, if your intentions were very good, but you were too immature, too young in a previous lifetime or something like that, but it comes round, or a childhood sweetheart comes round again in this lifetime, and it turns into something that could be good or really good, to me it indicates that the seeds were planted long ago, and they've been nurtured either over many years or over lifetimes, and it's now manifesting in this lifetime. The way to handle it going forward is to understand the bigger picture, is that what might seem like a singular moment right now, a relationship, a dynamic, a situation, whatever it might be, has already existed. It already had seeds of existence planted long, long ago, and it's manifesting now. I hope that makes sense to you in some way, shape, or form, Nicole. All right? So I'm just going to play a bit of music and shuffle up, and we're going to move on with Jessica's reading, okay? So please bear with me. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I really, really appreciate it. Let's see. We're going to shuffle up. We're going to put Jessica over here.
All I wanna
All right. Hello, Nicole. Thank you, N. Edwards, Nicole. That sounds kind of like a validation of the reading a little bit. I really appreciate your notes there. Makes me feel that we were on the right kind of page together. Hello, Maria, the original one and only. How's life in Arkansas? Have you been having lots of, snow, rain, ice, black ice, flooding? Whatever it might be. Okay. All right. So anyway, folks, we're going to do a reading for Jessica now. Cards are already well shuffled in advance. It's kind of weird, isn't it, when you think about it? I'm this guy on a screen. I'm probably hundreds or thousands of miles away from some of you. It's all digital. And we share these incredibly intimate experiences together. It isn't just like physical huggy, hanging around the campfire, eating hot dogs and having maybe some ice cream and playing guitar and singing songs. We're actually going deep into soul energy. It's crazy when you think about it, you know. Like that movie Hereafter, the hero, Matt Damon, they usually do their stuff in a room. People, the old-fashioned way with psychic mediums, like TV shows or whatever. People buy tickets, they go to the room, and then the psychic medium goes, "Oh, I sense there's a small white dog sitting right next to you. The lady with the green shirt." And they do it actually in the room together, and that's great. I've done that kind of thing. But here we use tarot cards, and we're thousands of miles away, hundreds of miles away. And it still works. It's kind of freakish. Thank you, Nicole. Again, thank you for the validation. It's loose enough in it, but it's close enough as well. Makes me feel like we nailed it. It's good to bring clarity and awareness. In other words, Nicole, you're not going insane. The things that you're feeling really, really deep down are real and they're true. And they're coming from the heart and the soul. So it tells me that you are resonating well with yourself. Body, mind, heart, and soul. Okay? So that's good. I'm happy for you. Really happy for you. Jessica, you're up. Now, Jessica, people should know we did a reading for Jessica some time ago. And like I usually do, unless it's some of my very long-term clients where we have a long history of working together, I usually forget pretty much everything. And it just makes everything a little bit lighter. I don't have to carry the luggage in the mind full of information. I don't store files on people, things like that. I'm not like a doctor's office. Certain clients want me to do that, so I do that. But in general, everything is done purely in the moment, and then the files vaporize within a few weeks. When I do the personal readings, by the way, they usually end up very long, big movie-type files, and then I send them to you after our meeting, and then you download the file, and then you keep it forever. But I will have to delete the file here after a week or two because the storage space is very expensive and I can't afford it, so I don't store them. All those readings and Zoom meetings and everything, they don't get stored. Jessica, our cards are already shuffled, but we're going to just go to the very last second so that you're a witness. I hope you're okay, Jessica. And if I recall, you're in Canada. I'm not going to say anything more because I can't remember any details, and I don't really want to remember. Let's have a look. Let's see. Okay, Jessica, so what kind of messages do we have happening for you here tonight? Let's have a look. Again, I don't know if you believe in these things, Jessica, but please just ask for it anyway. Ask for your invisible friends to gather close to you and help you to get the maximum out of this reading, because I work with my invisible friends. They stay very, very close to me because I can't do this stuff on my own. Okay, what kind of messages do we have here for Jessica tonight? Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things. If I recall, it was Eastern Canada, maybe Quebecois, Ottawa, Montreal, something like that. Okay, we're going to look at external influences here. So we've got the Ace of Cups. Okay, well, I see this is beautiful. This is like a blessing. It's a sacred opportunity. Remember, with the aces, it is the energy of sacred opportunity. The energy is out there. It's like it's available and it's flowing and it's fluid and it's good and big and beautiful and it's available to you. The question is whether you're aware of that or not, or whether you want that or not, or whether you're interested in that or not in your own three-dimensional life experience as you comprehend your life at the moment. But it's there. I'm not saying that this is love like, oh, my new romantic sweetheart, or oh, my long-lost love has come back, or something like that, or I'm pregnant and I'm giving birth to the love child of my dreams, or something like that. It's just love in its most pure, pure essence. Sometimes love can be laced with what appears to be tragedy and pain and suffering. But we love anyway. It's like it's the flowing. Okay, okay. Let's just call it the healing power of love. Let's look at the picture closely. Okay, think of it as the healing power of love is out there and available and flowing very openly, and it's there for you. It's up to you. Could be some healing, especially because so much about love is to do with healing. That's why I wrote my book, Love and Healing, even though I haven't finished it. I don't know if I ever will. I'm going to show you the title, okay, because this is very much about the Ace of Cups. I can't fit it all on the screen because, anyway, this is what the front cover of my book would look like if I could get it printed. The colors are pretty washed out here because this is from a computer printout, but in real life it's a very, very rich, beautiful piece of art. It took a long time to make this. And this is what it kind of looks like. There's TarotLumination. The book is called Love and Healing, and it is a little book about the healing power of love. Go figure. So that's kind of what I'm into. I don't talk about it so much openly these days because I gone on and on about, the world politics and things. But this Ace of Cups here is very much about what I just showed you, the healing power of love. I'm not saying so much to do with romance or anything like that, even though it might be to do with romance. I'm talking about the bigger issue. There might be a tremendous opportunity to seize a little bit of this energy. If there's something that's very dire, sad, tragic, painful in your life, in your world, and it really, really needs healing, that could be possible right now because this is available to you. It's like a faucet. It's like a tap. All you have to do is accept it, turn it on, and open it up, and it flows. Okay, let's have a look. Northern Ontario, close. Okay, well, sort of close. Where's my map? Where's my map? Anyway, there's Ontario. There's Northern Ontario. Okay, I can't see. I mean, Ontario is huge. I can't show you all of it. Anyway. So, let's have a look. What's the situation? Okay, judgment. So, with judgment, this could almost feel like an enormous breath of fresh air to you. What I'm sensing is that there's sort of a release going on here. Perhaps there's something happening in your life, in your world, where you're experiencing, like deep in your heart center, some kind of sense of liberation, freedom, liberty, release. Maybe you have been released from something very tragic or difficult or painful. Maybe you are in something very difficult, tragic, and painful, and you are yearning, praying for release and healing and freedom and liberty to just break free and come out of, maybe it could be months, could be days, weeks, months, years, decades of, let's say, psychic, emotional imprisonment. This might be something to do with Saturn type of energy, where it could be there could be a history of something very long and slow and painful that you've had to carry and deal with for a long time, and you're starting to see resolution, portals, doorways opening for you, where there is a chance for healing, a chance for redemption, a chance for freedom. What's the challenges here? Okay, this is going to sound weird the way I'm going to interpret it, okay, with the Three of Wands here, Jessica. It makes me feel as like this is something that you've been praying for a long time, and now you're getting it. So it's a little bit scary, like, wow, the healing power of prayer, you know? And the other part of this that I'm sensing with the Three of Wands is that deep, again, way, way, way deep down in your heart and your soul, your gut, you knew that a day would come where you would have this freedom, have this release, have this, maybe where there was some form of bondage going on, some kind of limiting relationship, something very tragic and difficult that was holding you bound and trapped or entrapped, making it very difficult to be your full self and to be loving and to be loved. But you knew deep down that the day would come of redemption and release and freedom. But for so long, there was so much doubt. And it almost feels like, I don't know if this is actually real, but you have to know that it's like, because we had this in the previous reading, didn't we? The Three of Wands, like, I got to say something, Jessica. Maybe there's something tragic involved here. I'm not quite sure. But you knew something was coming. You knew this moment would arrive. And it might have been very difficult for you knowing that it would just basically trying to hold yourself together to get to this point, because it feels like it's been a long-term issue, and getting to the point where there is potential for release and freedom and the healing power of love to flow. It can, and if it's in a good, healthy, benevolent way, you might be feeling like, oh, I doubt it. I've seen this before. I know it's all going to turn out badly. It's destiny, just destiny repeating itself over and over again. Everything turns to crap in my life, and that's all there is to it. Oh dear, oh dear. And that's just a fear, okay? I'm just describing an element of fear that is false evidence appearing real, okay? It's not real, all right? In other words, if something good is happening to you, like some kind of release, redemption, and freedom, and the possibility for love to flow, it is real. Accept it as real. You don't have to condemn it destiny and say, oh, it's doomed to fail. I know it. It doesn't have to be that way. You can move on. Okay, let's have a look. So how do we move forward here? Oh, okay. Well, with the Queen of Pentacles, my feeling is that the way forward is very, very simple. Accept the goodness. Whatever it is that's good that's happening in your life, if it feels too good to be true, don't doubt it. Just understand that the whatever goodness is happening in your life, if there's something like redemption and freedom, if there's a possibility for the healing power of love to flow again, accept it. Accept it. Embrace it. Understand that it is yours, and you did not inherit that like a trust fund baby. You earned it. You worked for this benevolence, this good outcome, this wholesome situation, and you deserve it. Okay? And this is something not to be squandered. This is very, very valuable, and it's to me it feels like it's almost worth more than gold, whatever it is, and not to be squandered, and just to be a good custodian. The way forward is to accept the goodness, understand that it's possible for these things to work out through fate, and that they do work out for the good, and that you do own it, and you do have it, and you do have a right. It's okay to feel good. It's okay to feel wealthy. It's okay to feel blessed, to feel privileged, to feel that you deserve it. It's okay. And so you just go on that way. It's going on from there, taking it into the long term. It's very, very important to be a good custodian, and to continue to be a good custodian. I hope that makes sense to you, Jessica. By the way, with the pentacles there, I'm not going to specifically name money as the theme here, but it could be a theme. Okay, let's have a look. Let's shuffle that up. Looks like that's it for the night. Let's have a look over here. I'm just going to shuffle these up and put them aside for a moment. I'm just clearing things, okay? All right. Let's come over here. Let's get over here. So there you go, Jessica. I hope that helps you. Hope you get something out of it. Hopefully it affirms, if there's something going on deep inside you that was like, oh, I don't know, is this real or not? And you needed some affirmation. You can obviously, which is what most people do, they translate or transcribe the reading into their physical 3D reality, and they take it with them that way. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for trusting me with your mini reading. Let's have a look. Hello, Anthony. I remember, when was it? A couple of weeks ago we did a reading together. Yeah. Jessica. Oh, there you are. Hi, Jessica. I needed to hear that. Oh, good. Good. You don't have to share anything. You don't have to do anything like that if you don't want to. I just like having those little nuggets that give me some kind of affirmation that I'm not too wacky. I'm not too far off. Thank you very much, Jessica. All right. I'm going to go over here again. All right, we don't have any more bookings, so I'm just going to shove those over here for now. Say hello and hang out for a few more minutes, and then I'll leave you all to have a good night. The thing here with all this Capricorn energy, because they're very, very tight. Mercury, Venus, Mars, they're very personal energies. And they're very, very tight together right now up here in Capricorn. Very tight degrees onto Uranus and Taurus. So that might indicate why we're having such strong messages of like earthly affirmation of things. Capricorn and Taurus stuff are earth energies. And it's nice to have that kind of resonance here on planet Earth. I think someone asked me the other day, oh, hey TL, what's your personal astrology? And I said I didn't want to divulge all of it, but I kind of did a giveaway. I told people that, well, I have a lot of I'm completely, utterly dominated by Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer energies. So that I have this big fat, it's like a theoretical water trine. So I can't help being, it's almost like you can't help being a psychic medium with that kind of setup in your astrology. It's like, it's inevitable. What's that? We got to... Jana, how do I say that? Jana Jensen? Jana Jensen? Denmark? Hello, Jana from Denmark? Huh, it must be, wow, it must be very early in the morning in Denmark. Wow. I think you're like 5, 8, what, 5? Let's see, 8, 9 or 10 hours ahead, aren't you? What, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, Jana? Anyway, thank you, Jessica. Oh, thank you, Necessary. All right, I'm just going to hang here a few minutes just in case anyone last minute wants a mini reading. But otherwise, I'm going to get prepared and wish you all the best. We could look into the future a tiny little bit if you want to. Like the sun is going to edge. Yes, hello. Excuse me. Early in the video, I was talking about the tipping point. This is the tipping point. Sorry, I'll mark it here. I'm going to mark it with green. Well, no, I'll green. I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to use orange. Nope, I used that orange. I'll use yellow in case. Maybe blue. Let's see if blue shows up. This is the tipping point right here, okay? This is the 0 degree mark for Pluto and Aquarius. We're there right now. And what I was saying earlier in the show when we first started is that we still have a lot of residual energy of compression here from all the Capricorn stuff over the last few weeks, the last month or so. But eventually, in the next few weeks, all of this, the Mercury, Mars, and Venus, they're all going to shuffle over here into Aquarius. So we're going to have a pileup of energy over here in Aquarius, okay? So that's going to really amplify the Aquarian vibes again, and that's going to amplify this axis again, also the Jupiter axis again, which is going to amplify the global financial system and the chaos that is unfolding. So just be prepared, okay? I'm just giving you some tips. I don't know if it affects anybody here personally, but I like to think of these things on a global scale. So I'm just going to round out. Right now, on the global scale, we're actually at a tipping point financially as well as with the whole of society, because the whole of the global financial system is based on the fiat money system, which is basically money is what it is because I tell you what it is. In other words, if I told you that this thing here will buy you a car, just one of these cards will buy you a car, if I promote it long enough and tell you long enough, you'll believe it. And I'll just walk into a dealership and say, hi, I want to get that new car. I will give you one of these. And the guy looks at it and goes, is that a genuine TarotLumination Rider-Waite Pamela Colesmith card? We have to check it. Check with your bank. Yes, it is. Okay, well, here is your car, sir. Okay, that's fiat money. Of course, in America, they make these very fancy. Let me see if I got a really fancy one. Oh, I might have a 10 or a 20 on me. The 10s are really, really nice. Have you seen them? I don't have one. Anyway, they're very, very fancy pieces of paper, and they're designed to make you feel that you have something extremely valuable. The only reason they have any value is because Jerome Powell says that they do. Jerome Powell is the head of the United States Federal Reserve banking system. And the rest of the world, like it or not, they had to copycat the American banking currency system in order to survive. The problem is that it is effectively a fraud, because it does not relate to anything that remotely resembles true value anymore. Okay, the real United States dollar, you know, when I was a little kid, the dollar could buy this much stuff with $1 or $10 or $100. I can remember when I was a little kid and I was living in England, and my dad had a pretty good job and making pretty decent money, and my mom wanted a very special gift for her birthday. She wanted a new car. She wanted a sports car. And my dad bought her a sports car. And guess what the sticker... This is how crazy it is. I'll just tell you. I'm just going to wrap up with this story, because it's about the global financial system. So my dad bought a sports car for my mom. And at the time, the sports car was a pretty cool new thing. It's like the latest, hottest model. It was called an MGB. It was black, and it had spoke wheels, and it had a soft top. It was just gorgeous. Today, by today's standards, it's very primitive, but at that time, it was just this gorgeous little sport car. And the sticker price on that sports car was £789. We lived in England. The pound was worth a lot at the time, but the dollar was worth even more. The dollar was very valuable at the time. And so it was relatively easy for my dad to buy her the sports car. But the thing is that, just imagine that. If that same sports car existed today, it would be about a $40,000 sport car. The equivalent today. No, maybe like $35,000 for a little sports car. They don't make them like that anymore, sadly. But anyway, that's inflation. And inflation is the product of what the United States federal government does. They print money, they create debt, and it's a cycle. It just perpetuates itself, and over and over and over and over. And effectively what happens is, I'm not going to go into a huge thing about that. What happens is the actual value of the dollar goes from here to here to here and here to here and here. Because every time the federal government prints more money, it sends it to the banks. The banks lend out money for cars, houses, colleges, development, businesses, whatever. Credit cards do the same thing. And every time they issue a new loan, millions and billions of loans over decades and decades, the money that they issue never existed. It's not like they went into the bank and took a pile of money that was already there and said, Diana, you can borrow this. It belongs to the whole community, the whole city here, but we got enough health and happiness here that I can risk lending you this money. It's 789 pounds. But when you give it back to me, over 3 years, you have to pay me every month. And by the time you pay it back, it's going to be $1,000, okay? Because of the interest money. Because I don't know if you're going to die or whatever's going to happen or you crash the car. Okay? So you can have 780 pounds now, but you have to give me back 1,000 pounds later. Okay? That's old-fashioned free banking in the old world of what's called full reserve banking. That doesn't exist anymore. They do fractional reserve banking to zero reserve banking. In other words, let's say I'm the bank and you want that car. Here's your 789 pounds. I give that to you. I write that out. I print that out on the bank computer, and that spits a check out to you. Those pounds never existed until I wrote it out to you on a piece of paper. Get it? So imagine that process multiplied billions of times. You're just basically creating more and more and more and more pounds to go after the same things over and over again. Houses, cars, college payments, stuff, things, vacations, mortgages. I said mortgages, didn't I? And so what happens is, over the decades, you just, for like the decade later, the same car, instead of being 789 pounds, it will be 7,890 pounds. You see? It's the same car. Anyway, I don't want to go into all that financial stuff. Anyway, we've reached a tipping point because America alone has now $34.5 trillion in debt. The debt is basically a whole pile of invisible numbers it's a measure of how we have destroyed the value of our currency, the value of our money. The dollar, when I was a little kid, the dollar was worth this much. It was very powerful, very valuable. I felt like I was rich. Today, the same number of dollars gets you this. Diana says it's your first car. You had an MG. Wow. My God. Wow. You have good taste, my dear. Excellent taste. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. It's been wonderful hanging out with you, everybody. Thank you for trusting me with your mini readings. If you need me again, of course, somebody put that up. You can go to TarotLumination.com, book a personal reading, mini reading, life, love, relationships, whatever it is. Health, finance, marriage, relocation, your spiritual journey, karmic past, whatever it is. We do it all here. Okay, doke. I'm going to sign out now, and we'll bless you for the week to come. I might be back during the week. I have to check the astrology. Sometimes I get frantic and I feel I have to put out a video. Okay? Good Nacht. Good Nacht. Good Nacht, Jana. It's okay. I understand. I don't mean to make you cry. Sorry, Diana. I don't normally hang around after the show like this, but here.